Welcome, everyone, to Of the Publishing Persuasion. I'm Angela Montoya here with Melanie Schubert, um, the sexiest bitch I know. Melanie, how are you today?
Feeling very soothed by your Dolce tones right now. I feel like this is a result of what I just said in your DMs. He's serving calming energy realness.
Yes, I'm
And
here for
I'm
it.
here
Smokey
for
is too. Look at him back there.
Smokey is killing me on he's the biggest beanbag I've seen in my fucking life. Is that I can't believe even your beanbags are supersized over there. Like, where did this come from? Do you sleep?
Yeah.
You could nap in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think everybody in my household has slept on that at least a dozen times.
Okay, now does it have those beans in it or something else?
They're they're softer. They're like more like I don't know. It reshapes if you just like move it and clean it. It puffs back up. So
Mm.
not bean like not the like styrofoam bean. It's like something else.
I knew
It's like
it. When you
squished.
said everybody in the house has had a sleep on it, I was like, no way is anyone sleeping on those little pebble things.
No, yeah. Look at that.
Look at him. What a doll. I,
Yeah.
since we're looking at Sleeping Smokey, I have to tell you that Goose woke me up with the loudest sleep bark. Does Smokey sleep bark?
He does like a cry, like a whine.
Yeah,
He doesn't
usually
bark.
Goose kind of she no, she has like a little with her mouth shut. She'll be like but last
Oh, yeah.
night it was so loud it woke me up and I was like, damn, but she was asleep. She was asleep. I thought she was off barking, but no. So I love that for me.
The girl was going through things in her dreams. She was fighting demons.
She was, bless her little heart. She's always fighting demons. It's hilarious because she's especially protective over Phil.
That's her man.
When he's home, it's so funny. She started barking at people with him only. So with me, she's like normal. But lately, when he takes her out in the evening just to do her business before bed, he's like, she started barking at just people when I'm like, she would never do that with me. It's just like, Daddy must be protected at all costs. Like, Daddy's so precious to her. And I'm just like, I can't be mad. It's very cute. But I'm like, she
That is
doesn't
cute.
bark about me.
She's like, this bitch is fine. She'll handle herself.
Literally, she's like, but Daddy's precious and we must bark at anything that looks at him funny, which feels right. It feels right. She's not wrong. Ah, but
Yeah,
yes,
she knows. She knows you're fine.
yes. But all that aside, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like so bloody liberated after our chat just now with Allison. How are you feeling?
Yeah. No, honest, it's yes, dear listeners. We were chatting just about like how we so often feel this pressure to be on social media or just to be available or like on like all the time. And it was funny because even this morning I was like, oh, I don't have anything to post. And I got this like itch inside my body, like I have to post something or everybody's gonna forget about me.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not the case. We don't have to do that,
Yeah. And
right?
even when you said that, I appreciate you sharing it in that way. Like it really does feel like this itch that you can't explain, like an addiction, basically. It's just like
Yes.
something that you just have to check that box off to feel a sense of calm. But yeah, I feel like somehow talking with Elson today, look, it's something we both keep trying to do, right? Take the pressure off ourselves, um, to post beyond what feels good, or necessary. But I think that we just fall victim to it again and again because I've been
Oh
feeling
yeah.
exactly the same, even though I've been hustling with the pod, like releasing stuff from the pod. Mentally, I'm just like, but my personal account, I haven't posted anything from my personal account in a while. And it's,
Yes.
yeah, it's literally this scratching in your brain that just tells you everyone's going to forget I exist. All the hard work I've put into this is going to evaporate. And it's simply not true. And it's so funny. Like, I saw an author friend pop up and I was like, oh, I miss her because she's not online much. And then I was
Hmm.
like, does it change my love for her even a little that she's not active on Instagram much? I was like, no. Does it change that I'm gonna buy her book when it comes out? No, because I love her. She's a legend. She's a great writer. The end. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. It truly is, I believe, an addiction. Like it is a problem. And we were talking about this in DMs. Like we both were like even a few months back, we're talking about like we're not going to put pressure on ourselves.
I
We're
know.
not going to feel like we have to do anything. We're only doing things for joy. And then it slowly starts to slip back into the old habits of like you must post 50,000 times a day or everybody's going to hate you.
It's not even like 50,000 times a day that like it's not the frequency, it's the I must somehow produce like something mind-blowing to like I don't know, in it makes sure people like see the real me and like somehow try to capture like all the things that I would capture in a fucking full-length novel and try capture it in one reel to just like, I don't know. I don't even know because
Yeah.
if I sit down and pull it apart, I mean, yeah, it would be great if a reel went viral and it like went to all the right people. But when I actually sit down and ask myself if I'd want that, probably not. Like, probably not. I mean, if it was going to boost sales, obviously we want that, but it's not necessarily going to bring the right people anyway. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna get the one time I did have a real pop off a bit, it just brought trolls.
Always. Absolutely always. Like people are so scary too. Sorry, I keep moving because there's stupid shaft of
I
light.
didn't even notice. I was just like so focused on our oh yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it's
But
me
anyway,
being blessed by the light.
yeah. Ah. But yeah, no, I get terrified
Mm,
to go even like to get like a couple thousand anything. I'm like, uh-oh. Like, I'm gonna shut it down. I've done it before on threads where I just
have you?
asked, yeah, and it wasn't even about writing. It was like about I don't remember what it was. Something about like my Alicia, like I don't know, jobs or college or something.
Mm.
And the amount of information I was getting, and the people started arguing in the comments, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. Like, what? I do not care. Like, I was just asking a question, and you know what? I'm just gonna go and look for the answer on the internet. I do not want to hear all of this stuff. I'm
Okay, but
done.
like contrary now to everything I've said, I actually love when people start arguing in the comments and it's a like a book-based reel. I'm like, just you go, baby, just boost this boost.
Yeah. Oh, I love reading other people's arguments, but I don't want to be involved.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to know the tea, but I don't want to be part of the tea.
So valid. But yeah, I don't know. I just it feels like such a so timely at the moment because I hadn't caught it creeping up on me quite yet. That's why it feels timely because I could feel like kind of this that heaviness, that itch, however it feels at the time. And like I hadn't fully realized that that's what it was again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm
Right.
kind of thinking about something you said a few episodes ago, and now I'm just thinking to myself, like you said, maybe I'll focus if I'm going to spend time on my personal account, maybe instead of like putting the pressure to like think of some post like interact more on other people's posts because something I've noticed is engagement is down as a general. And I think
Yeah.
that as a general, Instagram, people are like kind of less likely to like or comment or whatever. Everyone's a bit more restrained with that at the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of want to just encourage everybody like just like drop some love on each other's posts, you know? Like we're all hustling, just drop some love instead of feeling pressure to post, you know. And I feel like you were saying that the other week that you kind of wanted to make that your focus this year as well. So I'm just reminding you
Yeah.
what past Angela said
Yes, thank you,
because,
because I already forgot that. Yes, thank you.
yeah, but so did I. And I was just like, I think a lot of the time we run out of energy to think of how we're going to engage with other people's posts because we were so busy like pushing ourselves to post something.
Mm,
And I think especially now in your career and hopefully mine, like things come and you have shit to post about, right? Like there's
Yes,
been
yes.
no end of like content for you now when you've been at like these events. You could just
Yeah.
put the camera on anything and be like having the best time. You know?
Yeah.
And that's it.
Stay
And you've
busy.
got like because you're doing something and like it's a part of your journey in that moment. And I think that those natural moments for content are the ones people are looking or that just tend to get the most genuine engagement from people anyway, because it's just like it's a part of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I'm gonna try and remember this. It
We've
was
got
it was
this.
the perfect. Yeah, right? Like it was such a good reminder though. And I like how you said like you didn't even realize it was creeping up.
Yeah.
Like the backsliding is what we
Yeah.
were doing. And we don't need to be doing that. We're doing other things. And I also love the reminder of just and maybe if you don't have anything to post, go share other people's things, go give
Yeah.
them love, go comment on their things. Like there is stuff that you could do if you need to scratch that itch that is also positive.
That's it.
So, yeah, but also if you need to take a break from social media, it's
Hmm.
okay. No one's going to forget you. In fact, they'll be happy when they see you again.
Yeah.
Speaking to myself because let me move again. Hold
Yeah.
on.
It's killing now that I've noticed I'm
There.
cackling. The light is following Angela. It is
Yeah.
right now as she speaks these words of wisdom. She's being anointed by the sun itself.
Yes. The sun is saying, yes, girl. Yes. You're so
Speaking
smart.
speaking of the events and such, how was your recent one? That
Oh,
event,
man.
oh my gosh, like I need to know everything.
Yes, my honestly, again, and I think this is probably always the theme with me is like my regret was not going like because I stayed in my hotel room quite a well, no, on the last night I stayed in my
Mm,
hotel room like that night and didn't go out and do all like the really fun things. But I also knew, girl, you're gonna be doing another big thing soon. So like I knew I needed to pace myself.
hmm.
But that this event, it was Romanticy BookCon in Los Angeles. It was so freaking cool. It was huge, first of all. Like there's so many readers there, so many authors. It was like what I got a really big kick out of, what I really just was giggling to myself about was this event had so many like indie authors and authors that have just been doing it for forever. So
Mm.
they knew how to set up like they had their booths set, okay? Like and a lot of them were selling their own merch and books. So
Yeah.
they had like extravagant, gorgeous,
Mm.
beautifully put together booths. And then here I am. My booth was dead center. So as soon as you walk in, you see me and
I
my
love
stupid
that.
yeah. And all I freaking brought was a pirate hat, a vampire teddy bear, and stickers. And I was just sitting there, like, in between these gorgeous booths. And I was just, as I was like, I went there that, like, when I first got there, I was like, okay, I gotta set up my stuff, all the stuff I
Yeah.
brought. And as I walk in and I see who I'm in between, I'm like, oh my, this is hell. I was cackling to myself. I must have looked like I had lost my mind because I was sitting there in my booth just like in tears because I was laughing so hard. Like, yes, you are so professional at this. You're just it brought me so much joy. I'm not even kidding.
I
It
was
was
gonna
like the
say,
best.
or did you look like the main event, you know? Because the biggest talent just brings themselves, you know?
Yes, yes.
She
I
was just
probably look like
there.
yeah, I no, I look like reception. I look like you come here and you come here, ask me where to go, I'll tell you who to see. But no, honestly, it was really, really cool. The hotel
Yeah.
was extravagant, gorgeous. However, it was haunted. Like it's
Yeah.
documented.
Did you survive
Like
the
they
night?
no, I did not because my dumbass, as soon as I heard, I went to Google and it tells you which floor has what ghost and what ghost is on that floor. And so my I'm on the 11th freaking floor, and that is like a faceless woman in 1940s dress. Okay. And so I was there, I had 3 nights there. I
Oh my
slept
gosh.
each night with the lights all on and my TV on. And I realized something about myself this weekend that I am a little bitch. I such a bitch. You always think like you would be the main character in a fantasy novel,
Yeah.
paranormal novel. That she could not be me. I was scared. I was ready to leave. Not gonna lie. I was like,
Really?
I'll go to the yeah, I did not realize I was that big of a bitch.
What do you reckon
Okay.
it comes from? Because I appreciate you sharing because even though this brave veneer, but I also have had to like work through a lot of like uh fear of the dark, like I definitely have been in positions like that where I could not sleep because I had got myself into such a state worrying about something or some myth or whatever. Um,
Yes.
so I'm hugging you. I'm hugging
Same
you.
here.
What do you think made you so fearful? Like, because you believe in it all?
Yes, Melanie.
Yeah.
Yes. I know my luck when
Mhm.
it comes to these kind of like weird things. I just
Yeah.
know I would be the one to take a thing home or something. Like I just know
Oh,
that
that's
my
the fear,
energy,
yeah. To be like,
my yes, like bad energy or whatever I have would be like you're yes, like
I
let's move in with
disagree
her.
with that at least. Like, regardless of what's seen and unseen and what's real and not, I really disagree with that. I think your energy is the exact opposite. I think anything bad would be completely repelled by your energy if it was real, for the
I'm
record.
gonna stick with that. Thank you. I'm gonna cling
Also,
to
you have
that.
powerful energy. So if though, let's just say those things are real, but your energy is like very big and very powerful. So if they are real, they'll go haunt someone else who deserves to be haunted, you know?
Hey, I'm gonna take it
Hopefully.
because luckily, the weekend went well. But you know what's funny is I came home, and obviously I'd been telling my family the play by play. I mean, they knew everything.
Yeah.
But like I was talking with Armando, and he was like, "Well, he's like, I didn't want to tell you, but like the weekend you were gone, I saw something. He saw something
Here at your house.
twice at yes in our property." And one time was in his truck because he likes to he has like I don't know, he likes to go in his truck and have his like conversations because the guy like he loves to be on the phone. I don't God bless him.
Is
He
he
will
a
talk to everyone.
chatterbox?
Oh, he's the biggest chatterbox and I will just sit in a corner. He
That
will
feels
talk to
so right.
everyone. Yes.
I
So
kind of
he
need you to write that romance arc into one of your books of like the chatterbox cinnamon roll and you just kind of being like loving it, but also like, girl.
it's everywhere we go. I cannot be bothered, but he will talk to everybody, and
Bless
everybody knows him, and they
him.
love him. Yes, but he was in his truck having a conversation as he does, and he said he saw somebody walk by, and
Yeah.
he got out of the truck thinking it was our son, and so he was yelling at him, thinking like he was trying to prank him, but he wasn't there. And then he was outside working, like, like, I don't know, whatever he does, chickens or whatever. And he saw somebody on his peripheral again. But he said he didn't feel bad, like energy. He felt
Yeah.
like it was like maybe a family member just coming to say hi, like making sure he was
Mm,
doing good. Um, but yeah, I was like, thanks for telling me that. Like, you didn't have to. Because now
no.
I'm not leaving this house.
Well, look, nobody really has anything on camera or anything like that they can share yet. So just remind yourself that when you're feeling that. And if it happens to be real and happen to you, then, we're all gonna know about it at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
but I don't
plus,
want to know.
no, I know. And I think, don't worry, your energy's powerful enough.
Thanks. But yeah, other than that,
Other
the
than the
event was great.
hauntings, just channel that Vanessa energy because she'd be like, yeah, let's see the faceless a Victorian
Yes.
wench.
Yes.
Yeah, do
Well,
you
and
know
it was
what?
funny because a lot of people were like pumped about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
cannot be me. It
The
cannot be
people
me.
who are pumped about it, I think they don't really believe it, and that's why they really want to see something, because they're just like, they want to see some proof of the supernatural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't need to see proof. I'm like,
Nah.
I'm good because I'm no. See, I'm getting scared just thinking about it right now.
It's smoky. It's smoky. Listen, the more you like overthink it and scare about it, I think the more you like our brains are so powerful and so creative, and yeah, you just focus on your books and you'll be protected from all the things.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you.
You're gonna be
Yes,
all right. I'm
yes.
so
We're gonna be
impressed
fine.
though that, and I mean, you were there for 3 nights. Personally, I think if ghosts and stuff are real, they have better things to do. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, you know what was so funny though? There was like a ton of Australians there.
Really?
And I don't know, yeah, I don't know what they were there. They had like a, I don't know, sports athletic uniform or something. And I was so tempted,
Real.
but I didn't want to be annoying. They were there for something else, but I didn't want to be annoying and be like, guess what? I know all about
You
Australia,
should
guys.
have.
Like, I was so tempted, but they looked, like they were pretty athletic guys, and I didn't want to like, not that that, but they were like filling up the whole elevator, and
Really?
with their, yeah,
At
and I was
the
like,
hotel?
yeah.
Ah,
I know. Yeah. So
that's so
no. So
random.
anyway, the event was great. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. I got on a panel that went really well, in my opinion. And got to hang out with like a lot of really amazing authors.
Yeah.
And I just had this moment. I was in hanging out in Bridget Kemmerer's room,
Oh
and she
yeah.
has super like so many books, and she's this amazing badass author. So I was in there, and it was like just a bunch of us authors in there just drinking and having the best time. Alexa Dunn was there,
Oh.
Gretchen was there, Kate Dramis. I don't remember, a bunch of authors, right? And we were
Mm.
just sitting there drinking. I just had this moment of like, wow, like 5 years ago, because I used to watch Alexa Dunn, who we've had on the podcast a long
Yeah.
time ago. I
Literally.
watched, yeah, I watched every YouTube video she ever made. Like I was her fangirl, like because she put out such good
Mhm.
information. And so I was sitting in this room and I'm looking at all these like badass authors, and I was like, this is 5 years ago, Angela would have never, ever imagined just like having wine and like bullshitting and all that stuff. So it was like a really really cool time just to like have time with authors and readers, and it was like
Mm.
long. It was like a long time. The time of the signing was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
9 o'clock to 4. Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
long.
it's long, and I slithered in and out. Okay,
Good,
I know.
good,
I
good.
maybe a little too much at some points, but a lot of the time people would just come and sit with me in my beautiful, brilliant booth, and we would just chat. So it was like a nice time to just really like socialize. And maybe that's why I'm exhausted, because it was a lot of
Yeah.
talking.
But that
But it
does
was
sound
great.
like a very magical moment. And like it's always such fond moments like when you have those kind of like it's like a movie moment in the hotel with the girls and like it's so funny though, because um you still see yourself the way you word it. It's almost like you still see yourself as an outsider in that room when you're saying, well, sitting with all these amazing authors, but you're one of them now. Like part of that moment, I hope, was just being like, oh my God, like I've like made it. Like at least the start of my journey. Like personally, I think your star is just starting to rise. But like you made it to like one of those places that you so yearned to go. And like, what a magical moment to be like sitting there with somebody whose advice you were like following to get there and just be like casually having drinks and you'd had them on your podcast. Like, those are the real big
Yeah.
magic moments. Like, I love
Yeah, it
that
was
so much.
yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I guess I didn't think of me as the part of the crew.
I pick up on
But
your
it's
language. It's like you still see yourself as like not part of that crew, but you are an invited author with a central position. Who the fuck cares that you didn't print the posters out? You didn't print the posters out because you've been fucking busy with a million other things. You know what I mean? That's the only reason, like, haven't had the bandwidth to think about how you're going to set up your booth because you're working on other books and other projects. And that's no shade on the others. Like, but I'm just saying, like, it didn't eventuate this time. Next time you might have a poster or something. Like a life-size Lalo that says like kiss me or something.
That would be so cute. I'd
So
love
cute.
that.
And they get a little
Yeah.
vampire like kiss pop or something after.
Yeah. Yeah. Someday I'm gonna come up with something.
Yeah, but you belong in that room. You've been hustling and like someone would walk into that room and be like, "Oh my God, Angela Montoya's in that room." So, give yourself a little bit of a moment to just like you're part of
Yes.
that room and you are all shimmy shimmy. Smokey shimmied as
He
well.
shimmied. Good life, Smokey.
Speaking of shimmies and all related things, I
Yes.
have to tell you, I had finished this morning drafting my slutty anthology piece
Yeah, you
for our
did.
anthology, and let's just say I think, oh look, I shouldn't oversell it. I don't know how hot everybody else is
Oh
going to come
no.
in, but I tried to put it's very open door. Let's just say
The door is wide open.
the door is wide open. Catherine has had a very good time.
I am so excited slash nervous to see what Melanie has come up with.
Listen, I'm nervous as well, but like I'm also just like kind of proud because I like anytime I felt myself shying away, I was like, nah, just go for it. And I would go extra. So there's definitely going to be parts that are a bit cheese on toast, as is my new favorite saying. There's definitely like I haven't shied away from kind of like the cheesiness either. And I've tried to make it funny as well, but I have not shied away from the spice. Maybe because we've been reading these books and I just see that's what they do, they don't take themselves too seriously. Um, Although we weirdly wound up with morals and themes as not morals, but like feminine empowerment as well.
Hell yes. Hell yes. I'm freaking excited for this. I am so excited. So Melanie had mentioned when we were talking about this anthology of doing like, can you explain the hot factor you were
Oh
talking
yeah.
about?
I thought since it's Jingle These Bells is the title of our anthology, I thought we should do like I've seen other anthologies that do like a spice rating and it was like I think that one was a mermaid themed one and it was like one trident and it was like one trident was like, kind of a love story and at the end they fuck. Very swoony, very like still open doored because I feel like in these books it's got to be open doored to be smart. Um, well, that's my perception of it, right? Like I feel like all like anything that falls into the erotica category is open-doored romance. So, and then it was like two tridents, it might be like faster, like it's more's happening straight away, and then like so like five tridents was like very much steamy. So I'm thinking for us we have to have like flaming bells since it's Jingle
Yeah.
Bells themed. So
Yes,
it
I
will
love
be
it.
our spice rating.
And
So
so you are doing five flaming jingle bells?
I think five j flaming jingling bells. Yeah, I think that's probably I would fully like allow myself to be topped by someone writing spicier. Like I don't want to claim that mine is the spiciest because it's not that it's I mean mine's basically like a sonnet to masturbation. So some people might find that super spicy. Some people might find the lack of like there being like a sentient person. Although you'll see what I've done. It's not
Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. I don't want to reveal too much. I definitely like I mishmashed a bunch of things together. There's still sentient adjacent because originally I thought the little thingos might come to life.
Yeah, yeah.
And they don't not come to life, is what I'll say, but they don't take like a physical embodiment, if that makes
Okay. No
sense.
Matthew McConaughey.
No, Matthew McConaughey. Oh, I mean, you know what? Maybe I should put that in. You'll see. You'll see when you see. I'm gonna do a revision, and then when you feel like reading something spicy, Goose has just started sleep barking. It's ridiculous. I don't think you can hear it, but
Uh-uh.
it's cracking me up.
Dang goose.
Sorry. There's no coming back from that because she's right in my line of sight. Kind of cute though. She finds sometimes I'll leave our podcast playing for her because she finds the sound of our voices is one of the most relaxing things for her. That's when
That
she
I
goes
love
in.
that.
This is a very deep sleep. If she's sleep barking, she's completely relaxed. Which being
I
like a
love
nervy dog, she'll often just jump at anything. But the podcast really relaxes her.
that.
Isn't that
Because she
cute?
has no choice. She's like, I better be quiet or I'm gonna get squirted or I'm gonna get shushed. So this is her
Literally.
time to be like, okay, I gotta relax into my zone, gut
Yeah.
out. She's so cute.
She is the cutest. Before I forget, I was gonna ask you, do you think that was your favorite moment of the event, the being in the hotel room, or was it something else? I meant to ask you what was your
Yeah.
favorite part.
Honestly, it was like all those like, there were just like so many fun interactions with
Mm,
authors and readers
yeah.
that like, those are all my sort of favorite moments because I had a bunch of like different times that were just super fun and funny. And so, yeah, it was like a bunch of different
Yeah.
moments where we were all just BSing. I think it was great.
Yes. I found it very heartwarming when you told me about some of our listeners that ran up to you and they
Oh,
were like,
yes.
Angela, we know you from the podcast, but they were like, but we know that like you're probably exhausted. I mean,
Yes.
you'll tell it better
Yes.
than me. I thought that was the cutest thing. Shout out to those listeners, whoever you are.
Yes, no, it was great. It was so we were just at like Gretchen and myself and Bridget and a few different authors. We were at the bar because they have
Yes.
this really pretty like bar area. And so we were there and I had two margaritas and they were really strong. And so I was walking out and bumped into like a writer friend and her friends were there and they're like and one of the friends was like, "Oh my gosh, I love your podcast. Like I listen to it all the time." And I was just like, "Wow." And I was just like going off and I was like that's when she was like, "I know you're probably tired, so if you need to
Yes.
skedaddle." I said, "Girl, I've had two margaritas." And she was like, "Go, girl." So it was like fun. Yeah, it's always fun when you um find listeners because it feels like they definitely know you.
Yeah, because
You
I
know what
thought
I mean?
that was the cutest ever that they're like, they had their moment, like fangirling over you. And then they're like, but we know you need to rest after this event. I just think that's the
Yes.
cutest thing ever. And it
Yeah.
just, yeah, gives me like hope in humanity or something.
Yes. Like I feel like this podcast for us has been so nice because
Mm,
like Instagram, social media, you're just getting a little bit of a person. But with
yeah.
this, like we're on here just you and I for like 40 freaking
I know.
minutes before we even have on our guest. And so people are really getting to know us. And so it's like
That's
that much
true.
more special when you find somebody in reality outside of the
Yeah.
bubble, like who listens to you and appreciates you and they really know you in many ways. And so it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, speaking of people we appreciate.
Slam dunk.
Sorry. The first time I did a decent segue in like three
That was good.
months.
You did a brilliant segue and then you had to brag on yourself about
Cut
it. You
that
had to make
out.
sure everybody, oh no, you have to keep that in. Melanie did a brilliant segue and then she said slam dunk.
You know, they might even see it if the camera was still on me, which will be the greatest shame of my life. Um, but people who are not the greatest shame, I don't know. There was one good segue and now I'm fucked, you know.
No, keep going. You're doing great.
We had on the amazing Allison Saft. Do you want me to read her bio? I've got it here.
Sure, sure.
So Allison Saft is the #1 New York Times Sunday Times, and USA Today best-selling author of A Dark and Drowning Tide, A Fragile Enchantment, and other romantic fantasy novels. After receiving her MA in English, can't speak, in English literature from Tulane University, she moved from the Gulf Coast to the West Coast, where she spends her time practicing aerial silks. Ah, aerial silks, yeah. She lives with her partner and an Italian greyhound named Marzipan.
We love it. We
We
love
do
Allison
love it.
Saft. We are now into Pokemon.
We maybe once we know what your Pokemon is. Also, side note, I didn't
Yes.
think I told you this, but I got my editors for the horror anthology got back to me and they loved the peas.
Of course they did. Were they like freaked out? Like, damn, Melanie?
They were he used the word phantasmagoric, which I had to Google. And I was like,
I
I'll
love
take
that
it.
word.
Listen, I have to tell you, like, writing for Castle of Horror is just like the best thing for my imposter syndrome because it's so there's hardly any edit notes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Like I worked hard to polish it, but also it was still like, wait, what?
Hair flip. Like, yeah.
No, I didn't
Nothing.
have hair to flick, but I still tried. But yeah,
Bang flip.
and then shortly after, this is one of the great things about Indie Pub. Shortly after, they sent us an invite to like our own launch party, the like Zoom thing for May 7th. So I guess the book's coming out May 7th again, maybe? I'm like,
I love that.
well,
I
that
love that.
escalated.
Did you see a cover yet? Do we have a
Nah,
cover
nah,
yet?
nah. I'm if it's again if it's any I only have last time to go off and I think we only got the cover like a month beforehand. Maybe they'll try get it out earlier this time, which would be good. But yeah, either way, I kind of forgot about it and I was just like, oh, okay. Okay, she's
Heck
gonna
yeah.
have a little brain horror anthology story. So
Readers, listeners, you're not ready. It's so twisted in like the best way. I'm freaking it, yeah, it will haunt you.
it's gross as well. I think once
It's so gross.
because like honestly, because Severed Cape was its own like beast, I was like, I'm not even gonna try to think about Severed Cape or like what a reader might expect if that was the last thing they read of me. You just kind of sometimes you just can't carry that. Like you just have to like start fresh and like let the creative muse take over. And I really did that with this. So it'll be very different. It's very like, and once I realized the grossness was kind of the fascinating part, I tried to lean into that as hard as possible. And
You
I
did.
think I may have achieved success.
You definitely did. And I cannot wait to have it in my hands. And
Yeah, me
yes.
too. Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. That was
So
such a
good.
fast connection. Usually we're like staring at the face for a while and kind of just singing to each other because a photo comes up.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've noticed we're always singing or doing something to fill the void. So I don't know if whenever our guests pop in, we're probably belting out some Mulan or something.
I feel cheated that I didn't get to hear a performance, but
We do a rousing rendition of Be a Man.
oh, yes, I would love to hear that.
Perfect. Be a
We
man.
must be
Just kidding.
swift as a coursing river.
Yes, Allison's ready to get in on the action too.
Is it even
Well,
a week if
welcome.
you don't start with Be a Man by Milan?
It's so true. Yeah, on the flight to probably to Love Y'all, I feel like you could do the option to watch movies, and I was so tempted to watch Mulan, but I thought, you know what? I don't know. I don't want anybody judging me. I should have just done it.
You should have just done it. I mean, I think when I was like, I like to watch what people are watching. So many people were watching like John Wick. I was like, okay, I'm scared.
Yeah, someone was literally watching John Wick in front of me. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, I guess people really don't care.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I was like, there's some risque movies they were watching too, and I was like,
And you're over here like fretting about Milan.
Exactly.
Yeah, that just, yeah, I'll work on that. I will. I really will. Well, Allison, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So excited to have you on. You're just a badass. So thank you for gracing us with your presence. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
You guys met at a masquerade, is that right? It sounds very fabulous. I'd love to know more about you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm Allison. I write romantic fantasy for teens and adults.
Mm.
I got an Italian greyhound named Marzipan. What else? I feel like I'm kind of a hobby collector. I cycle through hobbies quite frequently. I feel like the ones that have stayed are circus performance, which I've been doing for about 8 years, and more recently ballet, which I've been doing for about 6 months at first to support my circus training, and now because I'm obsessed with it. And the most recent hyperfixation is for the first time in like 20 years collecting Pokemon cards.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah.
That okay, because I haven't been in the Pokemon swing of things myself. So what drew you to them now after this? Because I'm curious.
I feel like, oh man, we're going right for the embarrassing stuff. I like to watch a lot of streamers. And so streamers are big on opening Pokemon cards
Mm.
live. And I was like, oh, that looks fun. But I'll tell you, Melanie, it is not a good time to be a Pokemon card collector. The market is hot. People are fighting each other in Targets,
Yes.
going $2,000. It is the Wild West out here. So I don't know, stay away.
Really? I
That's
mean, a
so freaking
great
funny.
time if you were collecting from the start. My gosh.
The new collectors, no, not so much.
That's hilarious you say that though, because my partner like has recently become a Pokemon guy, and it's because he watches these streamers, and so now he, we laugh because they're like, oh, he thinks he knows what he's talking about, but because he he watches it, but he'll watch it like religiously, and he loves these videos. And my daughter and I were just at Target yesterday, and her boyfriend, which this is new, she has a new boyfriend, or a boyfriend, she's never had one before, but he is a Pokemon collector, like professional, as professional as a 17-year-old can be. And we were at Target, and she was like looking, and they're like, they're just not here, they're gone. It's a
No,
problem.
it's a big problem. This is what we need to be just kidding.
Yeah, forget about writing, let's talk about Pokemon.
The real crisis at hand is the Pokemon cards. I'm so glad that this is how we opened this episode. But you know what? Hype is hype. I think isn't that like the power of like storytelling in general? Like if you can just get someone excited about your characters and your story to this level, that's goals, you know?
Oh, honestly, yeah, it's true.
Major goals. Well, okay, we know a little bit about you now, but I want to know a little bit more, and I want to ask you one of our hardest questions,
Okay.
Mm.
which is, what is the strangest thing you own?
Well, to keep the topic similar, I feel like I'm Timmy Turner's dad. Like, did y'all ever watch like Fairly Odd Parents?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
this is where I'd keep my, I don't even remember what the original thing is, if I had one. So this is where I would keep my Leafeon card if I had one. I I ordered this off Etsy. Oh, wait, I have a Glaceon too. That's also empty. So yes, as you can see, the hobby, it's bad. It's bad, y'all. This is where we're at. The cards are coming though, don't worry. But for now, it's just the empty cases that my dog really wants to take off my desk.
Okay,
Oh
I'm
yeah. No, those
obsessed.
look tempting.
Yes. And now I feel the real emotion behind these bidding wars, which I feel like you may have recently lost some, given the empty status. There was real emotion behind that. You were like, my Leafeon, what do you call it? Stand is empty.
My holy grail. But one day, one day it will be filled.
It will.
It's
We're
coming. Yes, we
manifesting.
are manifesting so hard for you. We really hope the best in your journey,
Well,
for
it's
such things.
a trying time. Do I have? I mean, full on. I'm sorry to your listeners. It's just we're Pokemon. It's Clodsire. I know people can't see it.
Glorious.
It's just a big stuffed animal of this silly
That's a
vanilla.
decent, like, huggable girth right
Oh,
there.
yeah. Yes, it's a
So the hobby is an obsession at this point. Like this is real. This
it's
is
real.
your life.
It's real. Yeah, this is the glamorous life, people. You become an author, and then all of a sudden you're gambling in Pokemon stock. Stay away. It's a dangerous career.
I
I'm
love
here for
it.
this.
Well, I want to know because we know you think about Pokemon, but aside from the Pokemon, what is something you think about way too often?
Um, ooh, there are many things. I mean, I guess I might as well just commit to the nerdiness. Something I think about way too often is the 4 Kids dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! People always,
I love you.
people will always make fun of this dub and say it was bad. To them, I say, please rewatch it because you're so wrong. The performance that, like, I'm blanking on their names, but the voice actors for Yugi and Kaiba in particular give is just, it's art.
Mm.
Kaiba in general is just kind of a god tier character that I think we need to put more respect on his name. This is what I think about.
But you know
Yeah.
what? I feel like as a general, like when animation voices, especially like if it's come from Japanese and then translated to a different voice, people have lots of opinions about what's been done with the voices. But I'm like I don't have a firm opinion on the voices you've mentioned, but I definitely agree that some people find animated voices annoying. But if you actually let yourself go into the culture of it, it's phenomenal. It's like it is an art form. I fully agree with you. Like what they're able, the emotion they're able to capture, is wild. So yes, I know what you mean.
And
Thank you.
I don't, but I am happy to be a part of this
Okay.
conversation.
I'm so sorry. Like, what? I don't have anything else interesting I think about. I mean, just like my own characters and ballet, and that's about it these days.
That's that's plenty. That is plenty and it's amazing and we're here for it. Loving it. Yes. Now, I want to ask, like getting onto to writer stuff, like did you always know you wanted to be a writer?
No, not really, actually. I think as a child, I probably started writing when I was maybe 10 or so. I got my start on Neopets and the Neopets roleplay forums, warrior cats, guilds, things like that. Writing was very much something I did as a sort of escape as, a lonely child in suburban Pennsylvania. And my mother is very practical, as is the rest of my family. And I think it just never occurred to me that writing was something that was actually viable as a career.
Hmm.
So I actually don't really know what I wanted to do when I was in high school. I did end up majoring in English, but fully prepared to just go into something like a normal 9 to 5, which I actually did for a while. For a time in undergrad, I wanted to be a college professor, teach English lit. And then I kind of had this moment in grad school, doing my master's degree, where I was like, never mind, actually, this seems like a even more unstable career in a lot of ways than writing. So instead, I started working at a portfolio management company, writing the little commentaries that are sent out to investors, like your portfolio did good or bad this month, and here's why. But I think it was probably a couple months into that job where I started thinking, like, maybe we should revisit this whole writing as a potential career thing because I am not enjoying the office job.
Understandable. As someone who walked away from teaching, I know that thought process well. But I'm gonna go, I hope you'll forgive me if I go on a side quest for just a moment. You said you're
Sure.
from Pennsylvania, and lately I'm quite fascinated about like how different all the American states are. What would you say like Pennsylvania is like known for? Is it like cheese or like I don't know, leather?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I just It's a funny name, and I have to know something about Pennsylvania. Like it's not pencils, I'm assuming.
No, I think Pennsylvania translates to Penn's Woods.
Oh.
William Penn, I'm blanking. I'm surely I knew this in middle school, but been a while since I lived there, but I think Pennsylvania's main things are like mushrooms. There's a lot of mushrooms.
Okay.
So cheesesteaks, of course. Philadelphia in particular is very known for its passionate sports fans who like will do things like boo Santa Claus or like
Taylor Swift, I
yes,
believe. Yes.
and riot, like whether team wins or loses. It just depends if it's a happy riot or an angry one, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful state. Highly recommend visiting if you ever get the chance.
I just need to know lately. I'm gonna ask like about all the different states. I want to know like what are they known for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Pennsylvania. I mean, we also have the Amish,
Oh yeah.
the Amish community who make a very good shoe fly pie, from what I remember.
A
Which is
shoe.
shoe fly pie. It's just molasses. It's delicious.
Oh, amazing. Molasses is the unsung hero of the sweets world. It's like bitter and like rich. Anyway, sorry for that side quest. Back to writing. Can you tell us a little bit what your publishing journey was like?
Oh goodness, yes. I feel like, well, before I got into the industry or after, I feel like in many ways the after is more interesting.
Give
Mm,
it to us all. We'll
mm,
take whatever. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, before I had a pretty, I mean, once I went on my circuitous like early 20s, like what am I going to do with my life? I did as all early 20s somethings who don't know what to do with their life and went on reddit.com where I found Reddit pub tips and I can't remember, there must have been some thread advertising a mentorship program called Author Mentor Match. Rest in peace, along with
Hmm.
all mentorship programs these days. But essentially, I think it was probably October 2017, and the deadline to submit for the mentorship program was March 2018. So I was like, all right, I guess that's how long I have to get a book together. I had been working on one. I finished the draft and immediately threw it into the garbage. I was like, this is not worth revising.
mm,
Um, kind of had that gut feeling. And so for NaNoWriMo, that year, I wrote something completely different, finished it in about 6 weeks, and then spent every waking moment from November to March revising it in preparation to enter this program and got in. And that from there it was pretty much linear. Like my mentor, Charlie Herman, who's still a dear friend of mine, taught me pretty much everything I know about revising. With her guidance, I queried, got my agents, that same book sold. So in a way, it was quite charmed. So all the interesting stuff has happened afterward. I mean, goodness, I've had the full range of human publishing experience and emotions. I like had a very average pandemic debut,
mm.
uh, the word of mouth success with my second, go to book festivals where tornado warnings happen. Angela lived
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. What the hell?
No, seriously. My first adult book was misprinted. That was fun. I've been orphaned 5 times. I mean, I just feel like publishing is kind of an industry where everything happens. Like not just
Mm.
anything happens, but truly everything happens, good and bad. So.
You mean
Oh my
like with
God.
editors, like orphaned by your pub house?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I am on my fourth editor with my YA publisher and my second with my adult imprint.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this leads into one of the questions we love to ask, which is like, what is the most surprising thing, or what has surprised you about publishing now that you're really in the thick of it?
Like nothing surprises me anymore. Like accumulate enough friends in the industry. Like someone will tell you something just totally wild, and you're like, yeah, that sounds right. So I think maybe what has surprised me is like what ceases to surprise me anymore.
Mm.
I think maybe uh, I mean, one of the things that someone told me once that I just delight in, and I feel like is so representative of the industry, is like publishing is very old industry in the sense that like it's been around for a while, but also like a lot of their processes are like the whole industry kind of feels like it's held together with like scotch tape and paper clips and stuff. I think someone once told me, I can't remember which house it is, but there's like this very specific process, internal process, and the instructions for how it has to happen
Mm.
are on this piece of paper that someone has written down. And like if this piece of paper goes missing, like everything's gonna fall apart. So um yeah, truly. It's I think probably most surprising. It's just the way things work and don't work.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird ass industry. Like I don't think there's anything like it. It's just the weirdest thing. Okay, wait. Okay, you mentioned that your adult book was misprinted. What does that even mean? Like what happened?
What happened? Well, so you know how when your book's about to come out, they send you a giant box of your own books? The author copies, for anyone who's not aware, like authors, as part of our contracts, are given like 20 of our own books. I really don't know why. Like part of me is like, can we stop? Like I just dropped off like 100 of my own books today at my storage unit. I'm like, I can't. Like, someone please help me. I'm drowning in these things. But anyway, so they sent me my author copies, and I opened the box and picked them up, and oh my gosh, I think it was actually like the first time I've cried since my debut. Holding my own book just because this one wanted me dead and
Mm.
didn't succeed. But it had one last valiant attempt because when I opened it, uh, it was not the title page waiting for me, but page 342. And
What?
every single one was like that. They had the books were printed. There were three versions. One that was correct, one that the first two chapters was replaced with the last three,
Oh
one
no.
where the book goes as normal up to page 300, whatever, and then it restarts and never ends. You never get the ending. Um, so that, yeah, that was what happened.
So how do we fix a thing like this? Like did it get printed and sent to stores?
Yes.
Hmm.
It was 2 weeks before the book came out, and in a way, it was so liberating because I think as authors, I'm sure y'all can relate to this, like there's so much that happens that we blame ourselves for, or we convince ourselves that we can do something to fix it. Oh, my publisher's not supporting me. I'll just market it myself. Like I'll get all my, I'll Herculean do all of the things myself. But when this happened, I was like, well, there is no way I can even delude myself into believing that I have a solution for this. Uh,
Oh,
so yeah, it went to stores like that, and for several months, I would occasionally get people messaging me like, "I really want to know how it ends." Like,
oh.
I'm sorry about that. It's actually like a radical new narrative
Yeah.
theory where you get to make it up yourself.
Oh, the worst is like the beginning as the last three chapters. I think that just like kills me just knowing that somebody opened it and just went right to the end. Oh
Oh,
my God.
it's a murder mystery too. So I'm
Oh.
like, whoa. Oh, so funny in retrospect. At the time, so not funny.
Mm.
Oh God, no. Well, when I got my author copies for A Cruel Thirst, my I opened them and I was looking through and there's like these beautiful pages like in between sporadically throughout the story and they're like rose designed or poppies, I don't remember. I don't know what they are. But it says on the papers Shutterstock. I was like, my stomach dropped. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, really? Like, it just says it on there. So, yeah, I get it. I get it.
In my eyes. It's just so classic.
Yeah,
Uh,
it just goes to show you how human this industry really and truly is. Sometimes in the worst ways and sometimes in the best ways.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
So much can go wrong. It does.
And does, yeah, yeah, that's the truth right there. Well, you do have a book that just came out not too long ago, and to rave reviews, and it is everywhere. It is gorgeous. I mean, you're out here killing it. Can you tell us a little bit about Wings of Starlight, which I'm freaking so freaking excited for? I've seen like the character art, fan art that people have been creating. I'm like, oh yes.
Oh, I know people. It's so sweet. We're in a Pixie Hollow renaissance right now, and it's be very beautiful. Yeah. So Wings of Starlight are either of y'all Disney fairies people?
I
I mean,
mean,
I've watched them.
Okay,
I'm not an expert, but
no.
I've watched the movies. Yes.
that's fair. You really don't need to know anything about just say it affects my pitch sometimes, but it is in 2012 there was a movie called Secret of the Wings. Um, and in this movie there is this infinitesimal like couple minute long sequence where we learn that the Queen of Pixie Hollow had some like tragic star-crossed romance with the Lord of the Winter Woods, and their love essentially. I'm explaining this very poorly. It really doesn't matter. The point is that there's this tragic backstory that is alluded to in this movie. And for 13 years, fans have like imprinted on this. And I don't know, it was like many, from what I understand from all the screaming, crying, throwing up messages I've received over the past few months, is it was a very deep wound in childhood for a lot of people. So Wings of Starlight is essentially the prequel to this movie that tells the full backstory of this tragic romance between the Queen of Pixie Hollow and the Lord of the Winter Woods. Clarion is not the queen at this point in the book, but she desperately wants to prove herself, and she finds an opportunity when a monster from the winter woods crosses into the warm seasons, and she wants to stop it. But the only way she can do that is by forming a very unlikely alliance with a young warden of the winter woods who is might have an idea of where that monster came from and what they might have to do to stop it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Wow.
Yep.
You know what? I love you giving the fans the ending that they needed because it does happen a lot where you watch something and you're just like, wait, but what about that character? Tell me more. It sounds glorious. Now I'm gonna have to go watch the Wings of what was it called again? I
Oh,
definitely saw it trending at one point.
yeah, Secret of the Wings. It's
Secret of
very
the
cute.
Wings.
I was too old to watch them when they came out, but having watched them as an adult, they really hold up and they're actually very beautiful. Like the art is gorgeous. It's a very whimsical world, and the stories are like kind of meaty emotionally. Like they delve into I don't know, the important issues, but also keep them very like accessible for kids and reward adults watching too.
I'm
Mm.
gonna have to do a rewatch, I
Yeah.
think, because it's been a while. It has been a while. I think my daughter was probably like 2 when we watched them,
Oh
and
wow, yeah.
so we might have to do a rewatch. We'll see.
Yeah. Is there something you wish your readers knew before reading it?
This one, I mean, no. I feel like no, okay. I feel like the longer I'm in this business, the less I want readers to know about anything about me, the book, my intentions,
Mm.
like any of it. Like to quote Adam Duritz in Mr. Jones and Me, like I want to be Bob Dylan. Like Bob Dylan is just a complete, I'm obsessed with this man probably because my partner has gone into his own hyperfixation after watching the Timothy Chalamet movie. But like this man, Bob Dylan, he just no one knows anything about him, and he makes up any fact about himself. So no one knows who he is. And I think that's I don't know. I feel like we should all aspire to be this way in this
Mm.
age of social media that demands like performance from authors. Like
Mm.
I I just feel like artistically I want to get out of the way and resist people to take away something specific. Like I don't care if they know if the book was easy or hard to write, or if the book was of my heart, or the book I needed to write to get a paycheck. Like none of it really changes, I think, how the work is received. And like there's only this moment of encounter, which is what I think makes fiction such a unique I mean, it's not unique to fiction, but like the experience of it changes every time you come back to it. And I think that's, I don't know, kind of wild. It's like everything you bring to it in a moment.
Hmm.
Um,
Do you think social
impacts
media culture has kind of brought you to that place where you kind of want to be more distant from the consumer?
100%. And I think Wings of Starlight in a lot of ways was kind of the breaking point for me. My original works have done well, but have not brought me the same level of exposure as Wings of Starlight has. And I think the reception to it has completely, in a way, overnight changed how I want to exist online and has made
Mm,
me reevaluate a lot of what's important to me in this career and what is
Mm.
essential to me in this career to continue to stay in it, I
mm.
think.
Mm.
And if you're comfortable sharing, like, what do you think that is?
What I think like solitude, honestly. Like I think social media is oh man, I mean, how long do we have? Like another 3 hours. But I think it's completely changed not only the industry, like the way books are marketed, but also the way books are produced. I
Mm,
think it's an environment where authors are keeping one eye on the page and one eye on their audience at all times, which I think is completely destructive to
mm,
good, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's it right there. Like I don't remember where I heard this, and it was probably on TikTok. I don't remember what author or who the hell said it, but they were saying that publishers don't care if the work is good; they just care if the work will sell. And I was like, ah, damn.
yeah, and it's a shame. I mean, I don't know, like and it's changed so quickly because my first book came out in 2021, and I was just thinking about this today actually as I start. I'm on deadline like as of today. And my revision schedule is like workable, but when I think back to my debut, I just feel like there were like 2 rounds of developmental edits. Each of them I was given like 2 months to do, another separate round for line, which was like another 2 weeks. And I just feel like those deadlines have been shrinking quite rapidly. Like I actually went on one of my little discords today and it's like, hey gang, like how much are we getting for dev edits these days? And the answers range from like 2 weeks, which I think is wild. I could
Mm,
not revise 2 weeks to like I think like 6 weeks seem to be about the sweet spot for most people.
mm,
So yeah, books are just being produced very quickly. Editors are put under the crunch, which means authors are put under the crunch. There's so many books, people just desperately want to spin that roulette wheel of virality, and it impacts like what they choose to write about and how they talk about those books. I don't know. Yeah, there's a whole 5 hour podcast in here, I think. So I'll stop
mm.
myself.
No,
But
I appreciate you even sharing that. I always love these. I think like the moment like we talk about that stuff from a place of authenticity, it's exciting to me at
Mhm.
least. Like I feel like yes, I appreciate you sharing. I'd love the 3 hour lecture, but I feel like I got the essence of it in that
Oh,
as
that's
well. So I
good.
appreciate that.
yeah, I know it's funny because I was just thinking about this today, and I don't remember which author I like had seen them just pop up on social media after like forever,
Mm,
and I was thinking, oh man, that'd be nice because I just feel this pressure to always be on, and
And
I thought, oh,
you don't have to. Let's liberate ourselves. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to because it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like we always feel that we need to control something, and social media is the easiest way, I think, for most authors to feel like they have some hand in how their book performs, that it won't fade like into the abyss.
mm,
Um, because no one's going to care about it as much as you do. But I think we just sink so much time and energy into promoting these books when it would so much be better spent just living, I guess, and like making
mm.
anyway.
No,
amen.
this is what excites me about what you're saying because it's very liberating and I think that that's it there. It gives us the illusion of control. And I think that's why we get so sucked into maybe it's different for everyone, but maybe I think all spending more time than we're comfortable is where
Mhm.
it's at on social media. I think all of us are. And yeah, that question of like, is it actually controlling anything or like working maybe smarter, not more? And I think that your question, like this line of thinking, really encourages us to like pick apart like what matters and being like specific and like intentional about what we're doing online rather than just feeling like this whole constant pressure to tip the scale in our favor, which is, I think, what winds up happening to all of us. At some point, you start to feel like if I can just do this one post, if I can just do this, and it's like endless.
Mhm. If I could just, go, get my million views on Instagram, then my publisher will love me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes it works. Sometimes it really doesn't. And
Mm.
yeah, that's why they call it the random house, to quote my favorite line from that Department of Justice case. Like, yeah, so much of this is
Mm.
random, and we think we can fix the odds, but
Yeah, we just keep writing and writing the work, doing the work. I think that's like my key takeaway from this is like focus on the work and yourself. Now I want to ask because it says we have 3 minutes to go. Well, a little over. But I want to ask our favorite question, which is looking back at all you've accomplished, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself before you even started this journey?
oh man. I think that the most important advice I would give to myself and to anyone, just to continue on this theme, really, is that publishing is a job and writing is an art. And
Mm.
when you start to conflate the two is when you are lost, and it is not worth the I mean, we've all been there and we all have friends who have been there. Just like the intense, like psychic and emotional damage this job does on us because it is so personal. It's like our heart goes into our work. But it's just like at a certain point, we just need to take a step back and just be like, is any job worth my well-being? And the answer is no. And the moment it starts to really compromise your well-being is when you need to reevaluate how you're engaging with it or if it's worth pursuing,
Mm.
honestly,
Yes.
honestly. And so to that end, having artistic or even non-artistic interests and hobbies outside of publishing, I think is absolutely essential to remind yourself that like as much as it feels like the success of your book it determines your self-worth, you are a complete person outside of your writing and you have worth and friends and you can be happy.
Mm.
And a lot of people lose sight of that. I mean, I certainly have.
That's such beautiful, brilliant advice. And it does make me want to look into Pokemon cards myself, you know?
Yes, highly recommend. If you want to
Angela,
feel
you're
good.
so prone to rabbit holes. I love this journey for you. I love a Pokemon hole for you.
Well, if Allison Saft's doing it, I mean, then I'm doing it too, you know?
Allison, can you think of this is so random, but can you think of a Pokemon that is in alignment with Angela? If you were going to give her a Pokemon, what would you give her?
Oh my gosh, with a minute on the clock.
With a
I'll have
minute.
no, I'll have to email you guys after. I need to think about this. I need to think.
I love that I just like broke you with that question.
There's like 2,000 of them at this point. Back in my day, there were 150, but now there's like
Okay.
Capitalism, am I right?
exactly. Ruins everything. Man.
All right, well, email us because I'd love
Yes,
to know because that might start her journey. You might be the pivotal brick in her Pokemon journey.
I'm so sorry if so.
Well, we loved having you on. Thank you so much for being like so brilliant and so honest. And it was so great to have you. So thank you so much. Seriously. Yeah, you're the
Yes.
best.
Yeah, and I'm going to be taking some of that advice and like, I don't know, something about the way you've worded this is very liberating, and I think we could all stand to hear it more and take the pressure off ourselves more. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to cut us off any moment, so I will let you free to go hunt more Pokemon and to think about Angela's
Yes, I
Pokemon.
will.